El gato. What's up, everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? I always seem to have my mic drop out, so I just want to make sure. It seems like you guys are hearing me. I see the audio bouncing up and down. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Sounds like we got people from Israel, India, Georgia, Jamaica, all over the place. Awesome. Well, where I am at in the Rocky Mountains, it snowed the last 2 days. I woke up 2 days ago to fresh layer of snow on my grass, which doesn't happen too often in April, but it can happen in April sometimes. And I'm over it. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for summer. How's everybody doing today? We're just going to let some people trickle in. Aaron says it sounds good. Okay, great. You guys still hear the Spotify? Should I turn that down? Welcome, welcome. Max Magnus, welcome back. Always nice to see you in the chat. Let it snow. No, Michael, don't let it snow. It's time for summer. Although it is good for the snowpack, for the water. Get more snowpack, the better. How many of you are joining the live stream for the first time? I am curious. Because I am trying out different times for live streaming. And last time we did a Saturday live stream, last Saturday. And we had a few people in the kind of Asia, Europe part of the world be able to join, not so late for them because we did it in the morning. But a lot of people were saying that the weekdays were better because they can put the live stream on while they work. And weekends they're usually out. So usually I live stream on the weekdays in the evening, my time, which means if you're in Asia or Europe, it's really late at night. And so I wanted to try weekday kind of in the morning. So hopefully it's not too late for you. It should be around, I don't know. It's evening for you guys, but. So we do have a couple people here for the first time. Awesome. Welcome, Michael, for joining us. Welcome, Neelam. Welcome, Ayush. Hope I'm saying your names right. My next question is, how long has everybody been using After Effects? How long have you been using After Effects, and what do you use it primarily for? Do you do character animation, titles, just general motion graphics? Are you mostly an editor, or are you mostly doing motion graphics? I'm curious to know what you guys are all, where you're at in your use of After Effects. Neelam says, I've been using After Effects for the last year. Awesome. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're finding the tutorials on my channel helpful. I posted a new video yesterday. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's about the 3 tools that I use that really help speed up my workflow. Michael says, been using for about 8 years, mostly for graphics and title sequences. I'm trying to get into character animation now. Michael, question for you. What's the reason that you're now getting into character animation? I'm very curious about that. Because I kind of went through the same process, and I think a lot of people, I don't think many people start at character animation with After Effects. It's usually like an evolution to that. So I'm wondering if your experience reflects mine or not. It sounds like you are an editor, or at least that's how you started and that's how you got into After Effects. 7 years, but novice character animator. So I want to pose this question to everybody who's saying, the question I just asked Michael, I want to pose to everybody. especially those who are saying that you're kind of new to character animation. What's gotten you into it? Why? What's the reason you want to get into that and learn that discipline? I'm curious to know. Is it because your job's requiring it, or you're finding that it's a marketable skill and you want to add it to your skill set, or is it like it's something you've always wanted to do and you just haven't, or is it like you saw the tool, like you learn about Duik or Limber or something, and you're going, oh, I could do this in After Effects? I'm just curious to know what your turning point is, where your like character animation has become, it's on your radar, and you're like, this is the next thing I need to learn with After Effects. Let's see, we got some answers. Love character design and animation. Is that you just like it? That's why you want to learn it? It's fun for you? That's awesome if that's the case. Started doing personal projects, which has brought me down the character animation road. Started out as an editor. So, Michael, for you, is it more of just like a hobby kind of a thing? You just want to be able to execute on your own personal project visions and stuff, and character animation is a part of that. That's awesome. My friend made $1.2 million on character animation with After Effects, so I switched to 2D. Seems like a good reason at the time. Max, I would love to know how your friend made $1.2 million on character animation After Effects. I think we all would, to be quite frank with you, because I definitely have not made that kind of money. You're in the gaming industry. Interesting. Is there a big need for 2D animation in the gaming industry? These are all interesting questions. I'm always fascinated to know why people are getting into After Effects character animation versus Adobe Animate or Toon Boom or Moho. Why After Effects? I have my reasons, but it's always interesting to hear why other people are searching this out. There's obviously a big demand for it because there's so many tools for After Effects to do character animation. People want it. But, After Effects isn't a program that was originally meant for this kind of stuff, right? I think shape layers weren't even added to After Effects until a couple years after. After it was like 10 years old. It was it's a compositing program first. That's what it was. It was like the Photoshop of video. That's how it was. That's what it was to me when I first became aware of After Effects. It was like, dude, did you see this program? It's like Photoshop for video. Of course, I had no idea how to use it. But now it's used to create motion graphics, and they've kind of embraced motion graphics to the point of, you got motion graphics templates. But character animation is still only possible, really, because of third-party tools like Limber or Duik. After Effects has the puppet pin tool, but that's not really meant for character animation, to be quite honest, in my opinion. It's meant to do, stuff, but not character animation. And so it's interesting that there's such a there's a market for it. I find it very interesting. Andrew says, started video, but have transformed more of a motion designer the last 5 years for work. Also recently deep dive into illustration, want to be able to animate vectors more. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of my journey too. I was actually like a jack of all trades at my last, my last job, I guess I could say, before I went freelance. Where I was an editor, I was a shooter, I was a lighter. It was, we were always working on a skeleton crew, and I was the only one on the team that had any knowledge of After Effects. Well, not the only one for part of the time. We did have people come and go that had a little bit of After Effects experience, but I was the main After Effects guy because I knew how to use it. And then as a freelancer, I've just found way more work for doing motion design rather than shooting and editing, and which it's fine with me, especially with COVID. You know, I get to work from home, so it's really worked out to me, and I've really kind of just gone the motion design route. And I've found that I really enjoy like setting up the characters and animating them and doing stuff like that. So that's my little YouTube kids animation is not possible anymore. YouTube is not paying at all, or just not paying enough. The AdSense. Right now it's a hobby, but I would like to start doing it for client work, but I'm afraid of incorporating it into my pipeline, as right now I'm still very experimental when creating characters. Nice. That's an awesome goal, Michael, and hopefully, you know, you can find some content on my channel that help you get closer to that goal. This is probably a good moment to mention for those who are joining me for the first time. I actually do have a character animating or character rigging and animating course coming sometime mid-May. I'm working on the course right now, and you can pre-order the course for a discount off of what it will eventually launch for. There's a link in the description of this video, I believe, to go pre-order that course. You can go to the page and pre-order that. Get your slot at a pretty good discount, I have to say. I've already had a lot of pre-orders, and so I'm pretty pumped about this course. And I'm very close to being able to provide a little bit more detail into what exactly is going to be taught in the course, besides the fact that it's about character rigging and animating in After Effects. But I'm close to being able to send out some information about exactly like what the curriculum's going to be. But to suffice it to say, basically, I'm going to teach you guys how to break out of that kind of flat mechanical character animation that's so typical with After Effects character rigs. Things like foreshortening, body turns, being able to change perspective of your character mid animation, stuff like that. I'm going to share with you all my techniques that I've kind of developed to accomplish that, my process. It's going to be a really good course. I think it's going to be super helpful to a lot of people, because I find that a lot of what you see in After Effects, and this is something we've talked about in past live streams, it seems like the standard is very stiff, boring animations, and sometimes it can kind of feel like that's because of a limitation of After Effects as a character animation software. But a lot of it is, I think, because a lot of what you find on YouTube in terms of character animation is very much focused on how do you set up your character. You know, Duik is not the most approachable tool in terms of character rigging, and so a lot of YouTubers, tutorial makers will focus a lot on how to set up your character and not how to get the best animation out of that thing, that character rig. So we'll cover that in the course. So again, if you want to go check out that course, you could follow the link down below. If you're not ready to pre-order it, I totally understand. If you'd like to wait to see the actual course before you decide to purchase, totally get it. You can. There is also a link on that webpage where you can just leave me your email, and I'll let you know when the course is out. And of course, if you do pre-order the course, you take the course and it's not what you expected, or you feel like you didn't really learn anything, I will 100% give you your money back. I'm just here to help people learn. I think there's a huge gap in character animation educational content in After Effects out there, and so I want to spend the time to really create something that is super unique and helps people create animations they didn't think were possible in After Effects. So that's kind of my goal for this course. So go check that out, and I'd appreciate it. I've seen Buck character animation. It would be mediocre if it was done in 3D rig. So it tells a lot. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I mean, I know who Buck is. I know that studio. But they've done a lot of 3D character rigs and 2D character rigs, so I don't know what you mean, but you might be onto something. Michael, yeah, go check it out. Again, in terms of the curriculum, we're working on the website right now, the landing page, so there's not a lot of descriptive, like we don't have the lesson outline up on the web page yet. I'll just tell you because the reason why is because I did a earlier pre-order that was for even more of a discount, and the incentive for you guys was to help me influence the curriculum by filling out a survey. And then as a thank you, I for people filling out the survey, they got a really steep discount on the course because I needed that information so I can make sure that I'm hitting the kind of lessons and the things that people actually want to learn and are struggling to find content for on the internet. And I have to say, the survey was honestly super helpful in defining the direction of the curriculum. And it's funny because you think a lot of people with a lot of different ideas of what they want to learn, but there was a couple of ideas that kind of were common throughout all the responses that have kind of shaped the curriculum. If you want to, I think, let me see. I'm wondering if I left the survey on the... I didn't. Well, anyway, if you want to still fill out that survey, I'm always interested in more answers. Unfortunately, I was selling the course for $20, which is that's like probably 80-90% off of what the course will finally be. Unfortunately, that deal is now gone. So, but I still think, pre-order price right now is still, it's at $79, and I still think that's going to be a killer deal for what you're going to get in this course. I think the final price is going to be somewhere around $250 for the course. So, $79, that's still more than 50% off. But that's just before it launches. Once it launches, it's not going to be that cheap anymore. Hello, sir. I'm from Pakistan. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. I really appreciate the compliment, and I thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty impressed by Buck's 2D animation. But yeah, they're not going to be like a Pixar in terms of their animation. Probably not, unless they hired the animators from Pixar to animate what they're doing. But I think they've done some pretty impressive stuff. All right, guys. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Let's get into how to freaking do a dog. Andrew, does your course include lifetime access to the content? Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's open up the After Effects. Mohammed, I like your trick and tips of Duik Basil, sir. It's very awesome. Thank you. I liked making that video because I realized there's not a lot out there on that subject. Oops, let me adjust my After Effects window here so it fits the... There we go. All right, So today we're going to go over how I would approach rigging up a dog. And there's going to be a little bit of experimentation with this because there's a lot of ways you can approach this particular animation. And I'm going to use Limber Light. If you guys don't know what Limber Light is, it's the free version of Limber. This is a character rigging tool. Limber Light's the free version, and I love Limber, the full version, and I think we could get pretty far with just the free version. You guys can, I think there should be a link in the description to go download Limber Light. But essentially, what I like to start with an animal is I like to start with the body. So, and I am going to be using a limb for the body, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to just set this up. And with Limber, right now, let me do the black outline. Right now, it's very, the bend is very harsh, right? For the body, I kind of want it to be a little bit more noodly. So I just come over here and increase the bone curvature. And I don't want it to be that long. So, okay, and then I'm going to just come down to the limb layer and let's modify the stroke a little bit, give it a little bit of a taper. So first of all, I'm going to increase the stroke length. That's going to be our little dog body. And then end width. Or is it the start width? Or is it the start length? Okay. I have to say, I do not like the taper system of... I'm glad that After Effects has tapering now, but the way it works is sort of annoying. Okay, so these two controllers, this is going to be the shoulder, this is going to be the hip of our little animal. It's going to be fun. Okay, so we got that. Now, animal legs, I spent a lot of time trying to wrap my head around how their legs bend versus a human's, and it's pretty tricky. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Duik has structures for an animal. And unfortunately, you guys aren't going to be able to see this little window that I'm dragging around on my screen right now. That's a huge bummer because if you go click on the, let me go to the side here. If you click on this little button right here, it'll bring up another menu where you can choose to do a digitigrade rig for a leg or an arm. And you'll see that the structure that it creates right here. So you have this part of the arm, this part of the arm, and then I'm actually going to redo this because I'm going to include the claw. Okay, there we go. So you have the foot and the foot. These are both kind of the foot of a dog. And then you have the forearm and the arm. Because a dog's hand actually, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it takes a little bit to like kind of wrap your head around how to set this up. But having this structure from Duik kind of helps out. So if I just take all these structure layers, we'll see what happens if I just rig them up. Okay, there we go. So you can see how it works. Let me move the controller out of the way so you can see better. So we got the foot roll. So this is a part of the foot that hits the ground, and then this is like the heel, kind of. That rotates the claw, and then the tip of the toe. So if you want all that like control, you can set this up. Now, technically there's another bone that goes right here for the shoulder, but I usually just leave that off because you don't need that kind of level of detail for these kind of animations. So what I'm going to show you is I can go back to Limber Light, create a new bone, and I'm going to call it the left leg. And I can just place this controller here and this controller here. And I can modify the length until kind of matches. Maybe we'll put this underneath the thing so we can see. And then I'm going to parent the end controller to the hand structure. Yep. That's it. And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to parent the start controller to the arm structure. And then I just need to make the artwork or the shape layers to parent to the claw. But first I'm going to just modify this bone left limb here. I'm just going to modify the stroke, add a little bit of taper. We'll see you later, Max. Thanks for joining. Good luck. Send over that portfolio piece when you get a chance. Send it to my Instagram. I'd love to see it, honestly. Okay, so we're at that, and then end width. Bump that up a little bit. We just want a little bit of a taper. Okay. We're going to just move the arm somewhere over here. By the way, you don't have to use Duik to do this. You could do this all manually, but I'm just showing. I think Duik just helps show how a arm should be rigged up typically. Okay. All right, now let's make the paw. So I'm going to use two different shape layers for the paw. And let me turn off the select structures, and I'm going to turn those off. Okay. I'm actually going to just turn on the hand and the claw. Okay. That's just a guide for me to make these. Andrew, this is a great question, and I don't know why it's not popping up on the stream. Let me get a second, because I wanna address this question, but for whatever reason, my little chat highlight thing is not working. So let me fix it real quick. Pop out the chat. Bear with me a second, guys. I'm just fixing something real quick with the stream so I can address this question. Now let's try that. There we go. Imagine you get to this, but do these same rigging techniques hold true for assets, limbs created in Illustrator, or do you have to recreate everything in After Effects? Typically, I actually would recreate everything in Illustrator just because I can iterate on a design faster in Illustrator. It's, yeah, you know, Illustrator's made for this kind of thing, whereas After Effects is not. So typically, the short answer is yes. These same techniques will hold true for assets created in Illustrator. And I actually have a video on my channel about how to take an Illustrator character illustration and adapt it to be rigged. The reason why I'm not jumping into Illustrator is just because I'm actually using the Limber limbs to create my entire character. So the Limber, I'm basically creating this thing with just like lines, if that makes sense. And so right now I'm not jumping into Illustrator, but if I were to design like a character or a dog artwork, I would definitely do it in Illustrator and then kind of retrofit it for rigging in After Effects. So I'm going to create the foot here. Turn that stroke off, yo. Good question, though. Awesome question. I love questions. All right. So the way that I'm designing this this part is we have a joint here and a joint here, and I want this part of the foot to go right through the middle of the joint so that when it rotates, we got a nice looking joint. And I know that's through the middle of the joint because we got that little cross section. And we got this little icon right here for the middle of the joint. So hopefully, this isn't going to be perfect because I'm not actually using a rectangle, so it's not perfectly rectangle. But hopefully, if we go like this, and we change the anchor point, and we hit rotation, I'm looking right here to make sure that this little corner is not jutting out of the joint as it rotates. Now, it's not bad, actually. This one might jut out a little bit, but... All right. And then when we make the claw, we're going to do the same thing, but with this joint. Got some weird... So this is on a separate layer. So you have this layer, which makes up this shape, and then this, the paw part, is going to be on its own layer. And I just draw a circle here because that's going to be the joint of the paw. And then I'm just going to draw another shape on the same layer. It's going to represent the paw. Of course, that's a terrible paw, but that's why we just go back, kind of refine everything. Okay, there's our paw. Maybe I'll add just like a little line. Oops, I didn't mean to add it to those shapes. I'm just going to add like a little line here. There we go. Add a little thing there. Maybe we should add more than one. I don't know. All right, let's name our layers. This is claw. This is foot. And if we did this right, we should just be able to parent these to the corresponding I guess this is hand, not foot. But all right, let's test this out. If I, yeah, there we go. Now, of course, I could also change it to the same color as my leg, which I didn't really choose. Looks like we gotta, and I can turn off the structure layers, which once you have everything rigged up, you can turn off structure layers and you don't need them anymore. I mean, you need them, so don't delete them, but you don't need to see them. So there's your basic like dog leg. Use the foot controllers from Duik. And then we'll just parent, oops, we don't want to parent that. We want to parent the arm to the body start. So now if I animate this part of the body going up and down, the arm is just going to react like that. So that's where we're at. Let's do the back leg now. The back leg, so I'm going to go back to Duik and I'm going to create the back leg again. Oh. So with Duik, you have arm and then you have the back leg, or you have legs, and in this there's also a little pop-up window right here that I'm dragging around, but you guys can't see it because of the way that this live streaming software captures the window. It doesn't capture the extra windows. But basically there's an option for thigh, calf, foot, and toes. And you can tell it to not create structures for, I mean, you can choose which of those you want to create structures for. But I'll just hit, that's for a human. For a dog, it just basically creates this little guy right here. You can tell it's a little different than the front leg because this part is in particular is a little longer. But yeah, I for the longest time, it just like the fact that the legs kind of the legs like bend in towards each other, just for the longest time confused me. It was hard. So I'm going to try something new with this. So stay tuned. Once I have these two legs rigged up, stay tuned because I'm going to try something new. I'm going to actually increase the Well, I'm not going to try something new. I'm going to try something I've never done before and see if it actually works. And this will be a time-saving technique. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over to Limber, Light, hit Create New Bone. This one I'm going to call Right. Just because it's on the right side of my screen. It's easy for me to remember. Everybody has their own kind of naming convention. And some people would disagree with calling this the right leg because it's not actually the right leg of the character, but whatever. I do what I want. Man, I have something in my throat and it's really bothering me. All right, so again, wait, before we do that, I'm just going to adjust the length of this to match the structures. I'm going to bring this below. Okay. Let's go in and adjust the stroke. Now, dogs typically have a thicker thigh, as we all do. And then I'm going to just taper that puppy. No pun intended. Excuse me. Okay, sorry. I had to cough there for a second. And I'm gonna add a little bit of bone curvature to this. And with this, I actually am going to bring this up a little bit. I'm gonna make the foot longer. So now I'm gonna have to adjust my limb. Okay. By the way, I just did a video about this Mobar. It's a huge time saver. What I just did there was I used this little disable expressions on these controllers. See if that does it. On these controllers right here, because they have this expression that's on the controller and it prevents me from being able to change the scale. And normally you'd have to, you know, for something like this, you have to, if it's like, you know, on your thing, you gotta open this up, go to the transform, go to the scale, hit this button, and then you have to do that for the next layer. And if you have like 10 layers with expressions, it's really annoying. But with Mobar, I can select all the layers I want to affect, and then I can just hit turn off the expressions. And then if I want to turn them back on, I have another button, turn on the expressions. It's a really useful tool. There is so much to this tool. You can't see these little menus that pop up, but each one of these icons has a menu of tools. If you want to kind of see a preview of what those are, go check out my last video. Mobar is a huge time saver. So, and I love how compact it is. It doesn't take up a lot of space because it's built to have all those options pop out. It's awesome. All right, let's finish this foot. Okay. So just like with the front foot, I'm gonna create the foot on a new shape layer. that I'll then parent to these little structure layers. But, oh, and I remember now the reason why I disabled those expressions on the scale, so I can see this little circle guy, so I know where to draw my foot. So I'm going to draw my foot right through the middle of that circle, right through the middle of this circle, which is not actually the middle, and then boom. Connect those up. We're going to name this foot. And I actually need to rename that to hand, foot. And then again, on a separate layer, I will create my foot. Add rounding. Man, sometimes working with shape layers in After Effects, like I don't know why it keeps adding. No, I don't want to add a point. I just want to grab the shape group. I've got this. There we go. Sorry guys, I'm not frustrated. Okay, this is claw. Now I'm going to parent everything up to the corresponding structure layers. So I'm going to do that claw, to the foot, and then I'm actually going to, well, I'll do that in a second, but okay. So now I'm going to grab my structure layers and I'm going to go over to Duik, which is right here, and I'm going to go over and do auto rig. And then I forgot I need to parent my limber controller to the foot structure. Boom. Works great. And just like the other, I'm going to move the icon out of the way. Maybe even move it in line with the other icon. All right. Okay, so I just said I was going to try something new. Let's see if this crazy, wild idea of mine works. I'm going to take all the layers of this back foot, structure layers and everything, and I'm going to pre-compose those. Do back leg. And it looks like something happened with my limber layer. There we go. Forgot to include the limber layer in the pre-comp. So let's just make sure everything's still working. Okay. Looks like it's working great. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this front arm. Pre-compose that puppy. Pun intended. So now I have these two pre-comps. And I'm going to switch around the parenting relationship here because I actually want to parent the arm to the, let's just call this shoulder. Okay, parent this. So right now I have the limber controller parented to the Duik structure arm, and I actually want to reverse that pairing order, and I'll show you why in a second. Hopefully this works. It should work. I don't know if it'll work. Okay, so now as I use this, it'll... Okay, so here's the real test. Oh wait, one more thing. So I get asked a lot about, can you extract limber controllers with Duik? And the answer is yes, but here's how. You grab your limber controller. Okay, this is a limber controller, not a Duik controller, because this is the Duik controller. Duik doesn't make a controller for the shoulder, just makes the controller for the target, which is the hand. So I'm going to grab the limber controller, and you'll notice that on Duik, there's this little tag called controller. That's how Duik knows what to extract when you use the extract function. And if you don't know what the extract function is, stay tuned because I'm about to show you. So we got our limber controller. Now we're going to go over to Duik, and we're going to go to the Create Controllers tab. And down here, there's a little tag. You just press this tag, and it adds that controller tag to your limber controller. Now, I don't know, you could probably just create a tag and call it controller and still work, but this is just quicker. So now when I go into my original comp, this is where the extract becomes really cool. I'm going to select my arm composition, and I'm going to extract it. And now I have my controller in the current composition, whereas all the layers that make up my arm are still in the composition. So look at how simple this is. And I think now it's brought over the Duik controller. Now I think if I parent the Duik controller, now this is where it gets kind of iffy, because this is where I can't figure out a workaround for the, well, I have a workaround, but it's kind of a pain. If I take this Duik or this limber controller and I parent it to the shoulder, it does this. It does this thing. For whatever reason, like, I don't know why, because the shoulder controller is still here, but now it gets all wonky. And even though it's parented to that controller, the controller itself will follow the controller, but the artwork does not. So here's how I've gotten around this somewhat. Here's how I've somewhat solved this problem. If you go back into your arm controller, and then we go over to Duik, Duik has a parent across comps. So we're going to try to use this to solve this problem. I don't know if it will solve the problem entirely. We're going to try to use this. So when you do parent across comps, you have to select which comp you want to parent to pull from. And it's not showing you the list, but usually when you click on this, there will be a list of all the compositions open in your project, and you can select it. For me, there's only one other composition because this is a brand new project. So I'm going to select comp 1, which is my original composition. And then this little button is going to show you all the layers in that composition. You guys aren't going to be able to see it because, again, the screen capture software doesn't capture extra windows. But if you could follow along, or you could just trust me, there's going to be a list of all the layers in this composition right here. So when I click that, I'm going to find the one that I want to parent to, and then I hit parent. Now I should be able to go back to the original composition, and my front arm has disappeared. So, like I said, sometimes this don't work. Because we have the... No. We want just this to be parented to that. Now it's doing something weird. Oh, there we go. It's working. It's janky, but it's working. I don't know why the controller's all the way up here, but now it's working. So here's going to be the real test. Okay, I'm just going to rename this shoulder. Body shoulder. Body shoulder. So that's the workaround, right? You have to parent across comps because for whatever reason, when you extract that controller, it's parented to the actual composition. And when you take away that parenting and parent it to something inside the composition you extracted to, it does all kind of weird things. It doesn't actually work. So you have to parent inside, you have to go inside the original composition and parent it to the layer you want to parent to through the composition. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, it's a little bit of a workaround. But now I have this front arm layer or composition. All the artwork for that composition is inside the composition, simplifying my timeline. But here's the really cool thing. And here's the other thing that might break this, is you can actually duplicate this front arm. So we're going to do that. We're going to duplicate the front arm. And we're going to extract the controllers again. And it's going to pop up a window that says, no new controllers were found to extract. You can just say, I want to extract them anyway. Now you'll see I have 2 legs. And you're like, wait, you don't have 2 different leg compositions. You just have 1. So if I go into my project panel and I go to pre-comps, there's only 1 front arm. So what's going on here? And that's the cool thing about extracting controllers from a composition, is if you use master properties, you can extract controllers, the same controllers from the same composition and animate them differently. So in this case, we have 2 legs that are referencing the same composition, and we can animate them independently of each other. So I can spend the time doing rigging up a leg or arm in this case, and then I don't have to do it again. I just duplicate that and re-extract the controllers. Now the real thing is if they're both gonna follow the thing, and it looks like they are. Like this is like a cat, like mad cat with their back arched. Okay. Boom. So that actually worked out well. So now I can animate these two arms. I only spent time rigging up one arm, and then I can do the same thing for the back leg. So let's do it. So with this back leg, we're going to go in, make sure that the thigh structure is parented to the right foot. I don't know why it's doing that. Actually, we don't need to do that because of our workaround. Okay. So we got this set up. I'm going to extract the controllers. There, I have a working back leg. Again, all the artwork for the working back leg are in the thing, but we need the back leg to follow this body hip controller. And in fact, I'm going to move these controllers to the top. So we need this part of the leg to follow that. So we're going to go back into the original composition. I'm going to grab the thigh structure layer, which drives the parenting of the top of the limb. And I'm going to parent this thigh controller to the body hip controller in the parent comp again. So we're going to use the parent across comp. Go back to Duik and parent across comp. Again, we're pulling the layer from the comp 1, and then we're going to parent it to body hip layer. Hit parent. Now if we go back, boom. Now the leg follows the hip. And we can then do the same thing. We can duplicate the back leg. Just duplicated it. Come over to Duik. Extract the controller. Now I have two legs that I can now animate. So what do you guys think about that? That's pretty cool, right? Some ways to save some time. All right, I'm gonna finish up here pretty soon. And then I'm just going to add a little animation to this. I'm not going to worry about the head. But I'm just going to show you kind of how my approach to animating a dog. But first I want to show you guys a couple cool little things. If you've seen my latest video, I talked about motion script and how it has the focus mode, which I love. So even though I've simplified this timeline quite a bit, there's a couple layers here that I just don't need and don't want to see. I just want to focus on animating. So all I want to do is animate with the controllers. So all I want in my timeline is to see my controllers. That's all. I don't want to see these pre-comps. I don't want to see nothing. So this is why I made my last tutorial or my last YouTube video on tools that save you time, because I'm going to use Mobar, and Mobar has the ability, and you guys can't see it, which is, I gotta figure out a better way to do screen capture so you guys can see all the windows that pop up. But if on Mobar, there's a selection tool, that's what this is. And there's a bunch of different ways you can select layers. And I can use it to select guide layers. Guide layers are layers that don't get rendered out when you render out your animation. So anytime Duik or Limber or Rubber Hose or what have you create controller layers, those are created as guide layers. So I know if I use select guide layers, I'm going to select all the guide layers in my composition, regardless of whether that layer is a Duik layer or a Limber layer. Then with motion, they have what's called focus mode. And I can click this and it gets rid of all the other layers. So now I just have my controller layers. However, you'll notice that now I can't see my character. So I can easily go out of this focus mode. And if I go into this little 0 right here, there's these two options right here. And I don't have a preset to zoom in on here. But basically, this right here, when it's turned on, when it's yellow, it will turn off, it basically will turn off the visibility of any hidden layers. So in order to be able to see the layers that I don't necessarily want to see in my timeline, because I know I'm not animating the artwork layers, so I don't need to see them in the timeline. I just want to see my controllers in the timeline, but I want to be able to see those layers in the composition visually. So I don't want motion to turn off the visibility of those layers. I just want motion to hide those layers in my timeline. Now, of course, you could do this all manually yourself because, you know, we all know this little shy guy. You could turn this on layers. Motion just automates that whole process for you based on your selections and stuff like that. It just makes it way quicker to like turn off the visibility, hide and unhide layers. So right now, I've hidden the layers I know I'm not going to be keyframing on from my view in the timeline, but I can see all the layers of my composition in my composition window. If I only want to see the layers that I'm focused on, then I can turn on this little button and it will actually hide the visibility of any hidden layers in the timeline. So there is like, yeah, motion's awesome. Gabrus is asking, is there any free alternative plugin to motion? And not that I know of. Not that I know of. But Gabrus, I will say that the amount of time that tools like motion will save you will quickly pay for themselves. A lot of what you do in After Effects is time consuming. And especially if you're doing more complex stuff and you're constantly having to sift through layers, find layers. If you've got more than, 30 layers in a composition, which can easily happen, you'd be surprised how much time you spend in a project just looking for a layer, sorting through your layers, organizing your layers. And this focus mode really does help with that. And it's super, super time saving. So, and I don't remember how much motion costs, but let's just say it costs $50. I think it's around there. It might be 60 or it might be 40. Well, let's just say it's $50. And you charge $50 an hour. It's easily in one project going to save you more than an hour's time of work. So right there, you've paid for it. It's awesome. And I know motion's mostly known for like the easing tools, these guys right here, but the focus mode is awesome. I've got a lot of requests, and I'm interested to know if you guys are interested. But I've had a lot of people request that I do a deep dive into motion and everything it can do. If that's something you guys would watch, / you think other people would be interested in, let me know. I had a few people in the last video comment and say they're interested, so it's kind of it's in the works maybe. Yeah, you're welcome, Gabrus. Always happy to welcome. So anyway, let's get back to our little dog animation. Let's animate this fool. So I'm just gonna go to about 1 second. We'll do 2 seconds just to give this. So now that I have my controllers isolated, and excuse me for the headless dog, because we don't have time to rig everything up, and he doesn't have a tail, but he looks kind of like a werewolf right now. I'm just going to organize my controllers a little bit, and I actually don't need to see this one. I just need my hand controllers. Don't need to see that one, and I don't need to see that one. Okay, so I got my hand controllers, got my foot controllers, got my body controllers. And I like to start with the body. I'm just going to do like a little loopity-loop here. So I like to do 3 keyframes to start out. In the middle there, and then in the middle of those, do 2 keyframes. And then I grab these keyframes, and that's where we go up with the body. These keyframes, I'm gonna go down with the body. And we'll just do a quick little preview. Okay. Add some easing to that. And on the up, I'm going to actually add way more easing. Okay. And then the thing about a dog is it's kind of like, I've heard it described as like 2 sets of people walking slightly off beat. And then I'm going to add a expression, a looping expression to both of those animations. And that's our dog's body motion. So we are going to animate the legs. And anytime I'm doing a walk cycle, I like to split my positions into Y and X so that I can animate just the Y on its own. Like that. So on this, let's animate the, yeah, it's looking very robotic at the moment. Animating is all just basically a building process. You're just building one part of the animation at a time. See, like that. It's like, whoa, what's going on there? And this needs to be a way. Something weird's going on with the oh, you know what it is? I don't know what it is. Oops, wrong. It's kind of hard to see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of the back leg to be slightly darker because it's kind of hard to work with this. But I'm going to show you guys something cool you can do with motion, which is to create a little group here. And I'm going to call this controllers. And now I've got this little group. And now I could go back to the original view with all my layers and go front arm. Okay, so this is the back arm. So I can actually just rename this back arm. And just because I don't want to go in and change the fill color of a bunch of different layers, I'm just going to put a fill effect on this, and I'll sample this so it's the same color, and then I'll just darken this a little bit. This is just helping me so I can differentiate these two arms as I animate them. Now, here's the cool thing. Because I made this little group here, I can go back to that easily. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Select my group, hit this button, not this. This button will focus on whatever layer you have selected. That's why when I hit it, I only saw one layer because I have one layer selected. This button will solo the group. So I'm back to my little view here of just my controller layers. That's the thing about animation. I've been working on my motion comic, and it's just hours and hours of sitting in front of a screen. I mean, that's art in general, right? It's either hours and hours in front of a screen, or hours and hours at a sketching desk, or hours and hours in front of a canvas. Good art takes time. And my arm is really snappy, which means I'm going to have to eventually adjust the length of it, but or I can just bring this down a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad. Oh, you know what it is? It is the foot roll, I think. Yeah, it's snapping to this. Okay. That's what's happening. Yeah, that looks better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, go to the other hand, and paste this. Freak out. Will this be available afterward to watch? Yes, always. There's a playlist on my channel called Live Streams, and I will be posting that there for your viewing pleasure. And I think I can actually just copy these keyframes and paste them here. Yeah. Copy these puppies. Something weird going on. I think I need to adjust this curve a little bit. Oh, wrong curve. This guy's got to be. And you know what? I think when this dog goes like that. Yeah. It is morning. Well, it's like noon where I am at. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's live stream, everybody. Thanks for joining. You know, showed you how to rig up a little animal arm with Duik and simplified it with Limber Light. If you guys want to try out Limber Light, it's like rubber hose. It's like it's a pretty basic limb creating tool, but you know, if you want to dip your feet into character animation and whatnot, it's a great tool to start that out with. As you know, any of you guys who use Duik know Duik's not the most approachable tool when you're starting out, and it can kind of overwhelm you. It was fun to watch the stream. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoy doing these streams, and I enjoy having you guys comment and ask questions in the stream. Before I jump off, I just want to always offer the opportunity for anybody to ask a question about character animation or After Effects in general. So as I kind of wrap up here, think about those questions and get them in the chat if you have them. Another one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is what to call this little community we have here. You know how it goes with YouTube channels. You got to have some kind of name for your community, for your following. And so I was thinking about some names that I might use. And I want to get your guys' opinion on those. So when I'm ready, I'm going to share those with you guys and see if you guys like those. Or if it's a dumb idea. I don't know. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you guys. No, thank you guys for joining the stream. I don't know if the stream will happen in the mornings or if we'll go back to the evenings. It seems like I get a little bit more people tuning in the evening. So we'll see. The next one will probably be in the evening sometime. So, well, thanks everybody for joining. Hopefully you guys learned something new through going through this. I had a lot of fun. You guys had a lot of good questions in the beginning, and I always enjoy answering those questions. Future live streams, I'm going to have some other motion designers on to talk about what they do and just to keep us company. So be on the lookout for those. If you haven't checked out my last video, go check it out. And I have a few other videos on my channel about Limber, about character animation. So if you haven't watched those yet, make sure you go watch those. And is there anything else I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. Link in the description for my character rigging and animation course. Go check it out. We're getting really close to sending out like the curriculum, but you can pre-order it now for a very hefty discount on the full course as a, you know, get in early kind of a thing. But yes, we're going to have more details about that in the future. It's going to be an awesome course. I'm going to show you how I use a Duik and a Limber to rig up characters that can kind of break out of that flat two-dimensional look that is so common with character animation in After Effects. And if you've been learning about character animation for any amount of time now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the, you know, it's the flat three-quarter view, you know, limited movement type of rigs that we're all used to because we're kind of, you know, there's not a lot out there teaching people how to break out of that. And so that's what my course is going to be about, because I have a few techniques that I use to kind of create some more dynamic animations. So you can go check out the course over at keyframeacademy.com/character pre-order. And let me just see if I can show you guys. We'll just go here. Character pre-order. So this is the website right now. Pre-order price is going to be at $79. The final price is going to be around $250, and you're going to get to learn animations like this. We actually have another version of this web page that has all the information about the curriculum and whatnot down here, but we're just not done with it yet, so we haven't published it. But you know, this is a limited time price. It's not always going to be at $79. We're looking to launch in mid-May, so you know, get your copy now. Anyway, and software we're going to be using, because I just saw a question about which software is better for character design, Illustrator or Photoshop. Well, it depends on what you're designing the character for. You can animate both character designs made in Photoshop and Illustrator in After Effects, but when you're doing Photoshop characters, there is a little bit of a limitation to what you can do with that character artwork. So beware. This course is going to focus on After Effects, of course, Illustrator, Duik, and Limber. And the exciting thing is that Limber is going to be included with the course. So if you don't even own Limber, it's okay. You're going to get Limber with the course. You're going to get a limited time full license to Limber, so you can go through the course and you can get your feet wet with Limber. So and no extra charge to you as a student. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, it's going to be a fun course. So check it out. Again, it's not going to be at $79 for very long, but go get yourself a copy. All right. So that is it. Oops. We want to go back to the main. Yes, to answer people's questions, it's a lifetime access to the course content. It's a one-time purchase. Rodham, if you've already prepaid for the course, you're good. You're going to get it when it comes out. I've already had quite a few people pre-buy the course, pre-order the course, and they're all going to get access to that when it comes out. Again, launch date, mid-May. So check it out. All right, guys. Well, have a good rest of your Thursday. Keep swinging those keyframes around, and I don't know. That was stupid. Thanks for joining the live stream. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all your questions and comments and suggestions. Hope you learned something new. If you did learn something new, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. I really appreciate that. It helps tell YouTube that people are enjoying the content and that more people should see the content. So make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Just hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification. And, so you're notified anytime I go live or anytime I post a new video, or anytime I post something in the community tab. Just stay in tune. Also, follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers. I'm a little over 200 away, so that'd help me out a lot. And last thing, leave any suggestions for future live streams, things you want to learn down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to cover it. All right, guys, I got to go eat lunch. We'll see you guys later, and thanks for joining.